Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. I hope you enjoy. Story number 1. One Ship, written by Redno97. We thought those pesky apes an easy target. Sure, they had some strange tech, no one asked it. But so did we. And yes, they were terrifying to fight on the ground. But we didn't intend to do that. There were the multitude of other reasons not to attack the humans, but all were dismissed after short discussion. So it came down to numerical analysis. Far more than 1 billion military ships on our side, against a bit less than 1,000 military and 50 times that in civilian ships on theirs. Simple calculation. You outnumber the enemy almost 20 million to 1. So you attack. One ship. They launched one ship. We thought them mad. How would they stop us with one ship? The ship didn't even head directly to us. It just landed on some barren planet and started digging. A huge dust cloud enveloped it. We were baffled. It wasn't even a military one. 100 ships. When the dust cleared, 100 ships launched off that now even more barren planet, heading in our general direction. Our analysts came to one conclusion. Neat trick. But it won't help them much. 10,000 ships. Each one was heading towards another planet. Started to dig with creating another dust cloud. Each time 100 new ones arose. We should have seen it coming. But those 10,000 were still less than the expected 51,000, factoring in their civilian ships. So no one was concerned. 1 million ships. Now, some of the more cautious or intelligent beings in our government started to worry. But they were denounced as cowards or ape sympathizers and dealt with accordingly. 100 million ships. A subtle state of panic rose through the ranks. But the war could still be won, right? They won't find enough planets to do that again, right? How 1 billion ships will be able to hold the line, right? Wrong. 10 billion ships. Those lunatics did it. Not one dared attack them now. Before we could organize and start a proper defense, they multiplied one ship by 10 million and put those greatest of the galactic navies to shame. They outnumbered us 10 to 1, and no one dared make the humans feel that should be 1,000 to 1. So we surrendered, and they won the biggest by numbers of involved ships and smallest by death toll, more in the galaxy, without firing a single shot. One ship. Damn you, Von Neumann, and damn your exponential growth. End of story. Story number 2. Rock On, written by a glass of whiskey. The alien looked at the strange human counterpart.
Could you repeat what you just said?
I said, look out for the knife.
As in the elements for potassium, nickel, and iron. I see. Very funny.
He was not particularly human, but the human might pull out another pun, and he was not prepared for that just yet. Come on, that was a good one. Had to look it up.
Another human waste of time, of course. Could you perhaps focus more on our studies instead, what?
This is our studies, come on. What's it really for if you can't use some rot puns? The humans had been noted for their focused enthusiasm. Of course, that enthusiasm took on many different forms. One of them was apparently what must be an unearthly amount of puns about whatever they happened to be working on.
Look, I have another great one.
See what I got here? The human had pulled out a sulfur, tungsten, and a ring on the table.
A bunch of materials and your wedding ring?
Specifically, sulfur, tungsten, and silver. Swag! The human made a startling noise as if he was about to die. He had learned previously, when he had tried to save him, that this was just his way of expressing a pun well done. The precise definition of well done pun was apparent only to humans, and perhaps other humans, as he certainly could not distinguish between a good one and a bad one. in much the same way as he had been asked to choose which one was the most pleasant, pest or cholera. Rock on! He had memorized that one earlier from the human, since he used it so often that it had been more or less involuntary. Usually, it caused the human to shut up and get back to work. Oh yeah, rock on! The human finally seemed to quiet down and get back to work. It lasted only for a few minutes. Oh, here's an even better one. Apparently the human had gotten back to the work of finding more appalling puns.
Please, do not tell.
His little masterwork of humor was not heard, or at least not acknowledged. What is the chemical formula for the molecules in chocolate?
There are a rather large amount of them, but it isn't that primarily distincted by the cocoa, which have 3-bromine in it, so I would guess C7H8N4O2.
It was unlikely to be correct, according to the human, but he prided himself in remembering that one. Carbon, holmium, cobalt, lanthanum, and tellurium. The human looked at him expectantly.
That doesn't seem...
It forms chocolate. CHOCOLATE. The human beamed with pride.
Ah, yes, of course. Obvious in hindsight.
Not even with foresight did this one make sense.
You'll have to excuse me.
He picked up his stuff and left. Maybe he could sit in the cafeteria. It was noisy and crowded, but he would not have to hear any more damned puns. End of story. Story number 3. Galactic League searches humanity's internet history. Written by Samuel Evans. It was Sarlac's job to scroll through a species' network information system when they joined the Galaxy League. It was more of a routine scrubbing as their network information entered the Galactic's greater information core. He mostly maintained the subroutines and the algorithms that did all the work. He wrote some of them too. Nothing too arduous. That was until today. Whenever information pinged certain algorithmic parameters, he had to personally review it for examples.
On the humans network, this Rule 34 pinged the Galaxy League other species algorithm. Strange that they haven't had contact with anyone before.
It's this moment that he often harkens back to when he tells himself he had to do it. It was his job. He didn't have a choice. He clicked on the interface to open the files, something he would regret for centuries, and no amount of therapy could help him recover from. He'd even tried to remove those memories, but they were too strong for memory erasure. He didn't think anyone would even think of doing with that Garlac. He stood there, his mind slowly absorbing like a slow booting computer that didn't even realize what it was running yet. But the images did not stop there. He had opened a lot of them with that click, and they began scrolling through. Even as a young him, who had missed that mating cycle for too many turns, would not even dream up the Selenite tentacles doing that to a humanoid. After he began to recover his senses and regain control of his body and mind, he pulled his side arm out immediately and shot the viewing screen, and then proceeded to hit the big red emergency button. That immediately purged the entire incoming data from the Human Information Network and shut down the Galactic League's network for several solar days, leaving octillions without access to communications and information. The ensuing investigation cleared Sarlach of any wrongdoing and deemed his course of action to be an underreaction. Several investigators were medically retired and admitted to the Galactic League hospital mental wards soon after. Despite the danger arising from the situation, it was this situation that led humanity to discover their innate genius. They were actually a race of telepaths. Telepaths couldn't read minds of other telepaths, but they could indeed read the telepathic signals from others, even if they floated through millions of light years of space. After all, thoughts move faster than the speed of light. As for the Humans Information Network, it is still deemed a level 10 dark web threat that may only be viewed by the highest echelons on a need-to-know basis only, and that access was only typically invoked to see pictures and videos of what humans call the kitty cats. End of story.
I would quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and Patreons. Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Barky, Lord Azrakal, It's Difficult to Pronounce, Dragzoon WRE, Holly's Sister, Arcadian. Thank you very much.